Howdy, this is Lemmy with RevZilla. Welcome to our XSR900 parts upgrade video. So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've probably checked out our XSR900 first look, and you probably also checked out our full review on it, and you're maybe considering one of these bikes for your very own. Now you guys may remember from the review, I had a couple of complaints with what was otherwise a very competent motorcycle. Now rather than just leave the complaints at that, we decided to put this video together so we could show you how to make the bike just a little bit better with the addition of some aftermarket parts. Now I've used several parts here. I've used some Yamaha genuine parts, I've used lots of RevZilla parts, and then I've also used some third-party parts that you can't get from RevZilla. Now some of you might be saying, well, why are you guys showing me those parts then? And the answer is actually pretty simple. It's because of the right parts for the job. They genuinely make the bike a little bit better. So let me show you some of what I've done to this motorcycle. We'll jump down here. Now as you're looking at this bike, you're going to see some of the modifications I made, and some of them I'm going to point out to you. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But the thing I want to talk to you about first is the ease of installation. Nothing you see me having done here is harder than a 2-bearder on our beard scale of difficulty. Anybody with a toolkit and a little bit of mechanical know-how should be able to replicate everything or anything I've done to this motorcycle. So I'm going to talk about each individual part. Now let's start up at the front. You guys may remember from the review, I did have a couple of complaints about the fuel situation on the XSR. The tank capacity isn't huge on this motorcycle, and then I also had some trouble too reading the fuel gauge as I was riding the bike and knowing exactly how much fuel was in the tank. So in order to solve this, I went really low tech on it. I took an Optimus fuel bottle and stuck it inside of a Wolfman bottle holster so we can simply bring along a little bit of extra fuel. Strapped it down to the bars here, and if you take a peek, even though it looks like you can't see the board in here, the instrument's actually totally visible from the riding position. Like I said, it's a low-tech solution, makes things really easy, and it wasn't very expensive at all. Now moving farther south, check out this radiator guard on here. It's large and it sits right behind the front wheel like most radiators do. This thing is in a perfect position to catch all sorts of debris and detritus crap coming up from the road from the front tire. So I wanted to protect it just a little bit. Now currently this thing is wearing a Yamaha genuine radiator guard on here. You can see it has that XSR styling on here, but there's other stuff available on the market too. Hey, toss me that radiator guard. What you can see here is an R&G unit. Now these come in 2 different flavors. They don't have that XSR branding on here, but you can get these in 2 different colors. They also, for a couple more bucks, make a stainless unit. The main difference between these that I see is that the Yamaha unit is held on with 4 zip ties, whereas R&G uses 1 zip tie at the base here to secure it, but up top we have a pair of metal brackets that mount to the actual radiator mount points. I think this might be a little bit more secure over time. Here you go. So sticking with that protection theme too, we have a set of crash sliders on here. Yes, they are enormous. Yes, it looks like we have a pair of toilet paper rolls hanging off the bike. No, the black colorway of these Shogun frame sliders did not get here in time for me to put them on the bike. However, I did want to get some sort of crash protection onto here, again, because we were riding it a lot and I was riding it pretty hard and pretty fast. Something like this does a great job of saving your motorcycle in the event of a crash or even possibly a low-speed tip over. If you've ever seen a bike go down, you know that damage can be extensive. Let me put it to you this way. Shogun frame sliders are probably cheaper than your insurance deductible. So moving on back, let me show you the next modification I made to this bike, which I think could be the most important one here, and that's the addition of an APE manual cam chain tensioner. So as I had said in the review, Yamaha has experienced some problems with the cam chain tensioner on the XSR, the FZ, the FJ, all those triples had some issues. They've had several technical service bulletins. I'm not sure if they've totally caught up with the problem yet, but I do know this much. APE makes a killer manual cam chain tensioner, and I don't mind manually adjusting the cam chain from time to time to make sure that I don't have to worry about cam chain slap or possibly ruined tensioner shoes. It's an easy installation, and it gave me a little bit of peace of mind tearing around on this thing because we were riding it pretty hard. Let's go bottom side of the bike for just a moment. I'll show you another change I made down here, and that's the addition of an SW-MOTECH Centerstand. Now you guys heard Spurgeon and I extol the virtues of having a center stand, especially on a bike that's not really dedicated to track use. It just makes daily maintenance tasks much, much easier. Now you should know that the XSR is equipped with a spot on the back. There's bosses to add spools if you wanted to go that route. That could be cheaper if you already own a paddock stand. It's not going to get you the front wheel capability you're going to get with a center stand, but it will make some of the day-to-day tasks like lubricating your chain or perhaps installing a rear tire a little bit easier. So let's talk about the final mod I made here, and that's gonna be this cowl section. This is a Yamaha genuine seat cowl, and what this is gonna do really is just be beautiful. It just looks nice on here. It brings that retro throwback vibe to a bike that's supposed to be a retro throwback motorcycle. Looks great, there was no concerns about matching up finish. There are some optional decals you can throw in here. We elected to keep it plain, kind of keep it low key. I love the way this thing looks on here. The downsides of this piece, it's sinfully expensive. This is not a cheap piece to put on the bike. It actually represents half of our budget on here. So all in all, we spent about $1,000 modifying the XSR900, which I don't think is inappropriate at all for such a value-packed bike that rings in at under 10 grand. Now, if you're interested in any of the pieces you saw here, click that info button on your desktop or your mobile device, and we'll show you the parts available at RevZilla.com. Don't forget, of course, too, to click that subscribe button so you can check out all the cool content we're rolling out, like this parts upgrade video at RevZilla. I'm Lemmy, and I'm out of here.